We are Black first. We believe in taking care of our community, solving our own problems, putting our children ahead of the curve. We believe within the next 50 years, our children, B1 children, will lead the world in economic intelligence, wealth building, and all things related. If you agree with this philosophy, if you understand that we must be one in order to be successful, put a hashtag B and the number one in the chat. I see Terry Cobb already put his hashtag B1, and I know the rest of you are coming in. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, many of you have heard about the men that I consider to be kind of my Mount Rushmore of greatness. And I'll mention their names, and I'll tell you why I'm super excited about this conversation today. The names on the list are the one and only Dr. Claude Anderson, the great Kenny Gamble out of Philadelphia, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and this man right here, Dr. George C. Fraser. Dr. Fraser is the author of the book Success Runs in Our Race. He's the founder of the Power Networking Conference. And so I would like to give a great B1 welcome to my good brother, Dr. Fraser. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing wonderful. I read a tweet. No, was it a tweet? No, it was a post that you put up yesterday in my Facebook feed. We follow each other on Facebook, and I just landed on the floor when I read it because it was so simple and so powerful. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but it essentially said that Black ignorance is a billion-dollar industry. And I could not agree with you more. Oh my God, that was so deep and so profound. And profundity is taking something complicated and simplifying it. And yeah, there it is. There you go. Black ignorance is a billion-dollar industry. So I love that. And as you know, at the Power Networking Conference coming up August the 11th through the 14th, that's what the only three things we talk about. That's money, business, and wellness, psychological wellness, and physical wellness, because they're connected. Those are the only three subjects we have covered for 20 years. This is our 20th anniversary. You participated. You'll be participating in this one coming up. You participated last year and a couple of years before. So, man, I love you. I love what you're about. I love what your audience is about, because to follow you, you got to be strong, and you got to share a common vision with this incredible mind called Dr. Boyce Watkins. So, man, thank you so much for having me on, having me back. I really, really appreciate this. Well, I know we're going to open the show with our spectacular video that opens our virtual conference. This is what you'll see every day as the opener. We start at noon. We ended about 6:30, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, August the 11th through the 14th. So this is our opener. This is the first time we have developed a spectacular opening. Now, it's about 4.5 minutes long, but it's going to go like lightning, I promise you. I'm really excited about it. Our director of branding and design, Delano Johnson, just did one hell of a job. You're going to love this. You're going to love it. And I know you haven't seen it yet, right? You haven't seen it. You haven't seen it.
I've watched the first 30 seconds, but the rest will be a surprise for me.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. So we'll just leave it at that. And we'll start with that. I think it'll be a great conversation starter.
Okay, great. Well, everybody, as you come in, hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it, and take 1 second, share this video with anybody that needs to hear from Dr. Fraser. If you know how great this man is, you know that all of our people need to hear from him. Like if we had as many people, Dr. Fraser, if there's many people listening to you as there are that listen to some of these rappers, our community would be number one in the world. Like we literally would be dominating the earth. And so I say George Fraser for president. I just want to say that. And also give us a yes in the chat if you're ready to watch this awesome video. I'm about to share my screen right now.
Dr. Boyce, by the way, this is the national debut of this video, right? The national debut of this video. So,
all right. So you all are the first. You saw it here first. This is awesome. Well, I'm honored that you're doing the national debut here. And I will share my screen and share my audio. So give me 1 second here. Let me make sure I do this right. Here we go. So let me just go ahead and hit the play button. Here we go.
chart. I don't know what happened to the sound. Dr. Boyce, can you hear me? Is it everybody?
Oh, Dr. Fraser, did the audio go out?
Yes,
the
it
audio
did.
Went out?
It went out.
I'm so sorry, everybody. Let me try it again. Let me try. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear it. I'm truly sorry. I muted myself, and I might have muted the video too. So I'm not going to mute myself this time. I am so sorry, everybody. Chalk it up to my technological ignorance. My apologies. Let me try that one more time, and I'm going to do this right this time. My apologies. All right. So let me back up. I
prepared a chart. This chart to me represents beautiful, educated, money black people all over America. And what you will notice about these beautiful black people all over America is that everybody is doing their own thing. Caught up in a Eurocentric value of rugged individualism. Having forgotten that it takes a village to raise a child. There is no power here, brothers and sisters. There is no power here. There is no power with us being disconnected. See, there's nothing wrong with dispersion. I live in Cleveland, you live in Atlanta. We have folk in the Caribbean, we have folk in Africa. That's dispersion. That's okay, but we do not have to be disconnected. We are a disconnected people. We are powerless in disconnection. This is where all the power is. You see? This is where all the power is. Whether you are at the center of your own network or part of someone else's network, this is where the power is.
And that is George Fraser. I don't take lightly what he has done to illuminate our consciousness.
Power is most effective concentrated. I don't care what it is that you want to do, what profession you want to engage in, what business you want to get into. I can introduce you to brothers and sisters all over America. They are doing it to death. You just don't know who they are. You are disconnected from them. You are disconnected from them. There is no power in disconnection.
There is no conference that covers those three topics comprehensively and gives people the biggest bang for their buck.
When we connect, we prevent interlopers from coming into our communities and taking and destroying at will. Try to open up the Booker T. Washington delicatessen in Chinatown and see what happens. So we must connect. We must connect the dots. That must be the movement for our people. Beautiful African proverb that says, when spiders unite, they can tie up a lion. When spiders unite, they can tie up a lion. When spiders unite, they can tie up a lion. That must
be the movement for our people in the 21st century.
Wow, wow. I love that video. Everybody, let this brother know how much you appreciate what you just saw on that screen. I was inspired by it. I really love that part about the tiger and the lion, or some of the spiders and the lion.
Yeah,
And,
right.
and I was thinking, I said, I wonder if I want to be a spider or a lion. I said, well, I wonder if spiders uniting can tie up a lion, what happens when lions unite? Because some of y'all here are lions. So
There you go.
I'll tell you what, that was a beautiful video. So tell us about that. What was the logic behind that? And by the way, sorry about that technical difficulty issue. My apologies, but I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So give us some thoughts behind the message in that video, Dr. Fraser.
It is a lifelong message that I've been writing about and speaking about, as you well know. In my first book, Success Runs in Our Race, I wrote 30 damn years ago. I proposed that we have to be better at building relationships and connecting and effectively utilizing the human and intellectual capital of Black people globally. And once we understood that, once we understood how to do that, that we would be unstoppable. And you notice the video focused on the web. It did not focus on the spider. There was no picture of a spider. There was a continual picture of the web that the spider weaves that catches its prey. That's really what we're talking about here. Relationships are important. It's important in business. Business is about relationships. Without relationships, you have no business. Without relationships, you have no business being in business. In fact, the business we're all really in is in the business of building relationships. That's what it's all about. You don't build a business, you build people, and people build your business, right? So it's about developing relationships. It's about loving ourselves first, understanding who we are. When you see, if I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror and I do not love what I see as a Black man, there's no way that I can love you, because you become a reflection of me. So it begins with self-love. It begins understanding who we are. It begins understanding not only what your modern history is, but what your ancient history is, that we are the children of the slaves that would not die, that we have the genetic encoding of the great kings and queens of Africa, that we were building pyramids and solving complex engineering problems when other cultures were living in caves, eating each other. So if everything happens for a reason and serves us in some special way, and you will never understand the reason looking forward, and you will only understand it looking backwards, maybe we were not brought here. Maybe we were sent here. Do you believe that God would put his weakest people here to do his toughest job? How could an America who could morally, spiritually, and biblically justify the kidnapping, raping, and pillaging of another two people, natives already in America and Africans brought to America, have any moral or spiritual grounding? And perhaps had God not sent African people here, America might have self-destructed by now. We are an awesome and powerful people in our connectivity, right? But in our individuality, we can be divided and conquer, which is in fact what has been heaped on us. And we have gone through the greatest psychological holocaust, not only about what our real history is and who we really are, God's first people, but what our potential and our capabilities are. So it is about uniting. I tell people all the time, you've heard me say this 1,000 times, Dr. Watkins, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. Introduce me to your 5 closest friends, and that will tell me who you are. So the fastest way to change yourself is to hang out with people who are already where you want to be. What am I really saying? Don't spend major time with minor people. People going nowhere want you to go nowhere with them. People doing nothing want you to do nothing with them. If you want to change your life, change your relationships, okay? If you are not where you want to be, it's because you do not have the right people in your life to get there. So it's about, and that's what we teach at the Power Networking Conference. So we teach the power and importance of connectivity, of building strategic alliances, joint ventures, and partnerships as we aspire to grow our businesses. You can't do it alone. We teach us about wealth. As I said, that's the only talk about 3 things over 4 days at the Power Networking Conference, building our businesses and scaling those businesses. So let me say the next thing and still be loved. If you don't have a business, if you don't have a system, you don't have a business, right? I don't know what the hell you have, but you have to have a system. And so we teach our people how to build systems. Even if you are a sole proprietor, you need a system to replicate, duplicate, and scale your business. But again, this knowledge is embedded, and it is someplace within some brother or sister. Most people just don't know who they are, or they will just simply not do the work that is necessary to do. Dr. Boyce, you work very, very, very hard. I work very, very, very hard. The work that we are doing, or anybody who is on purpose, is hard. And unless you're passionate about it, and unless you love it, a reasonable person is simply going to give up. They're going to quit. So it's about, so you're passionate. I watch you probably 5 times a week. I spend at least 5 to 7 hours watching you. I mean, I'm watching you. I'm listening to you. I'm taking notes, right? I'm learning from you. And this is critically important. This takes time and this is hard, but what comes out when I listen to you, I'm always inspired because you're so damn passionate about what you speak about. You say it with conviction. You say it with deep knowledge. You're well read. You're well educated, and you are about giving back to the community. You are a huge node in the webs of networks that we need to build, right? You are a network within yourself. You are a community within yourself, but it is linked to and attached to my community, as it is. Both of us are attached to Dr. Claude Anderson's community, and there are other communities, but it's not enough. So that's, and I know I went a little bit off on it, but what I'm really talking about is changing. Is changing, having a different mindset, because the only way that we can live is if we grow. And the only way that we can grow is if we change. And the only way that we can change is if we learn. And the only way that we can learn is if, in fact, we are exposed and if, in fact, we are effectively networking. And the only way that we can become exposed and effectively network is if we throw ourselves out into the open, be open to the vision, take in the knowledge, let it inspire you. I don't believe in motivation. I'll be honest with you. Nobody has to motivate my ass to get up in the morning. Nobody has to motivate you to get up in the morning. I perhaps can inspire you with thoughts and ideas that I may have, as you inspire me all the time with thoughts and ideas and perspective and context, right? And I use those things. I write down your nuggets and I use them wherever it is appropriate. I'm learning from you. You're a huge part of my knowledge network. You are absolutely. You're a great inspiration, not only to me, but many, many others. And so that's what, in essence, that 4.5-minute video is saying. Connect us, learn from each other, leverage more effectively our collective resources and intellectual capital. We are an awesome and powerful people. They know it, and that's why they have worked on our head to divide and conquer us, right? To reduce us to no history, no impact. No, that is not true. It's a total lie. And we can disprove all of that. We are, in fact, slowly but surely disproving that. And we will continue as long as we have leadership like you. People ask me all the time, Dr. Fraser, what happened to Black folks? We're moving backwards. I said, if the fish stinks, look to the head. It's leadership. It's leadership. It's leadership. You are a leader. It's leadership. At the end of the day, it is leadership.
Yes. Wow. Everybody, in case you just came in, I'm speaking with the one and only George C. Fraser, author of the book Success Runs in Our Race, founder of the Power Networking Conference. The conference, and tell me if I get anything wrong, Dr. Fraser, the conference is August 11th through 14th.
Through the 14th.
The website's, sorry?
It's the 11th through the 14th. It's virtual. Okay. Remember, it's virtual. So there's nobody watching us right now that cannot tune in. It's available globally. Last year, this is our second virtual conference. We had to cancel the conference last year because of COVID. We did a virtual. We had over 10,000 people around the world join us in this virtual and global conference. This is part 2. So be on, and I'm going to make a special offer to folks at the end so that they will get a special deal. I call it my Dr. Boyce Watkins special, right? Because we're going to go back live next year. We're going to go back. It'll be the first live power networking conference in 3 years. This is our 20th anniversary. Next year will be our 21st anniversary. And that will be off the chain. People will be chomping at the bit to come back together. So while the virtual is off the chart, there is no replacement for a live conference. You know that. You've done live, right?
Yeah.
Right. This is wonderful. This beats a sharp stick in the eye. There's nothing we can do but to do this to stay safe. But at the end of the day, we are oral, visual, tactile, kinesthetic, and auditory people, right? They want to feel it. Black folks want to feel it. They want to feel you. They want to shake your hand. They want to hug Boyce Watkins. And that's what we're going to go back to next year. But in the meantime, we got you this year at the virtual. We had you last year at the virtual. This is the best we can do. And you're going to love it.
Well, I love it. I love it. And everybody, I can tell you all that conference is just extraordinary. It's an honor to be a part of it. You know, I remember the first time I went in 2006, and what really impressed me, Dr. Fraser, when I was first sort of being introduced to your ideas. And it's funny because I was actually introduced to your ideas around the same time I was introduced to Dr. Claude Anderson's ideas around 05, 06, and when I was teaching at Syracuse. And what I really like, and I think this is the secret sauce that so many people are missing, is understanding where that relationship piece fits in to the wealth building process. And it made me think about the last 300 or 400 years and why they worked so hard to make sure we had incredibly unhealthy relationships with each other. It's why they made sure that our families did not stick together. And unfortunately, that propaganda still works in some spaces. And there are people that say, well, gosh, why can't I get ahead? I can't figure it out. I think it's because people still don't understand that the wealth game is a team sport. You know, you can't play a team sport by yourself. You can't win the NBA finals with one player. Even LeBron can't win the NBA finals by himself. And so you and I were talking actually about our wives. Now, you know, I haven't been married that long, but I've known my wife for a long time. We've been great friends for a very long time. And you're 47 years in, and you were speaking to me about how important your wife has been in in the creation of the empire that you've built. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. Married to the same sister for 47 incredible years. You would not be seeing the man that you see on this screen today if it was not for Nora Jean Fraser. I said to you earlier that the two most important decisions that you will make in your life as it relates to your relationships will be your life partner, your wife, or your husband, and your business partner. For me, it was Greg Williams. He was with me for 32 years before he died of cancer. The interesting thing, with the right life partner, you also have an incredible business partner, because marriage is a serious ass business. When the lovey-dovey stuff wanes, you get down to business. And just like you have a partner in a real business, you have a partner in the business of life. And each of you have roles. You must share a common vision. And you know that most divorces happen because of money. Either the way the money is managed, the disagreement in the way it is managed, or the lack of money because for one reason there is no plan for two to work on that. Now, the man is fundamentally responsible, I think, for money, but there we're in a time where the woman can, and oftentimes, most of the time is, and sometimes must contribute. So you have to have a wife that is open to that. And people ask you, what attracted you to Nora Jean 49 years ago? Because we dated for 2 years. When I met her, what attracted me the most, she was out of college, working two jobs, right? Because she wanted more, and she knew in order to have more, she needed to do more. So she found a second part-time job. Now I said, now there's a sister that has the kind of work ethic that is necessary to have the things that we want for our family and for our children. I think I could work with that because I was working two jobs too. So that was one of the things, one of the big things, aside from the fact that she was fine and sweet and just, everything that I wanted in a wife. Now I waited fairly late to get married because listen, the average man doesn't mature until 40 years old. I think one of the biggest decisions, bad decisions that we make is that we make that choice, that the most important choice in our life, too early. I mean, we don't even know ourselves yet. Men haven't sown their wild oats. Sisters are still, really trying to gather their maturity and be the incredible woman that God wants them to be. So I think the later that you marry, the better that decision will be. That's why so many second marriages work out so well, because you know yourself a lot better than you did when you're making an important decision like that when you're 25, 26, or you're under 30 years old. Take your time.
Let me ask you, Dr. Fraser, how old were you when you got married?
Now remember, I was born in 1945. So my parents got married in their teens. That was of that generation, both from the South, right? They were married in their teens. I was very close to 30 years old when I married. So I was an
old man back then.
That's right. Because in the baby boomer generation, you fundamentally got married when you technically graduated from college, 4 or 5 years out of high school. Okay. The pressure was on. Right. So I was not ready. I knew that I was not ready. Right. I knew that I could not make a good decision. And if I made that decision, I would not honor that decision, because the vow says till death do us part. That's what the vows say. So are you serious? Is that what you really want to do? Are you ready, willing, and able to stay with your partner until death do you part? Or are you just sampling, or you just trying stuff? Well, that's very expensive. And as we had this conversation earlier, right? Mess a marriage up 2 or 3 times and see what that looks like. Because when you get married, you combine your assets. Let's say you stay together for 4 or 5 or 6 years. Something happens, you divorce, you divide the assets. You get half, she gets half. Then you marry again. And things are going fine. 3 or 4, 5, 6 years into it, something happens and you divorce again. The half that you had now has to be divided in half again. Do that 3 or 4 times and see what your life looks like, right? So you got to really it's an economic decision. It's mostly a sort of a spiritual and an emotional decision, but it's a very serious economic decision as well. And you're going to take all those things into account. You need to marry a smart person, whether male or female, but certainly in the economic realm. So you got to do you got to ask the tough questions. You got to pay attention, and a huge part of your decision will be based on the economic viability long term, in terms of sustaining the relationships and building a family. Right? Building a family and providing your children with the tools that they need.
Everybody who's watching, I'm speaking with George C. Fraser, author of the book Success Runs in Our Race. He's also the founder of the Power Networking Conference, which I highly recommend. It's excellent. I will be there. I'm going to be there every year because I think it's literally, if you're talking about secrets to connecting with other folks that think like you, that can help you get ahead, this is the best place to be. There's no place better than this one. So the URL's on the screen, powernetworkingconference.com. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Take one moment. If you know somebody who can benefit from hearing from someone like Dr. Fraser, please share. You guys are our distribution network. We're not NBC, ABC, or CBS. You are the distribution network, and you all know the power of these ideas. You know that this man is a winner. He can teach you how to be a winner, and he teaches us all the things that we need to know as Black folks. You know, I tell you what, if I could get every Black man to think like Dr. Fraser, again, we would never lose. We would never lose. So I want you all to kind of process that for a minute and give me a yes if you agree with what I'm saying. Please understand, like, take a moment. Let me know that I'm connecting with you on this statement, because I really want us to stop and to be very conscious of how we got here and why some of us ain't getting nowhere. You know, it's because we're listening to the wrong people, the wrong leadership. So Dr. Fraser, I want to dig deeper and ask you, you know, when you're talking about, you know, just sort of the things that you understood when you were young. I like what you were talking about in terms of the realities of relationships and consistency of those relationships. I found that in my life, when I got to the point where I was really taking off and doing well. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've always been a hard worker, and I've had times where I could feel success might be coming around the corner. But as you know, when you're young, you're figuring it out. You're confused, you're frustrated, you know, you feel like the world will never find out that you're any good at anything. And then things start to click, you know, and then they start clicking more and more, and you start getting into your groove. And that, at least that was my journey. And what I found in that process was two things. One thing that you mentioned I thought was 100% true was with that marriage piece. You know, I started really thinking deeply about how relationships affect your wealth. And so even what you said about, you know, one divorce cutting your wealth in half, another divorce cutting that half in half, another divorce cutting that half in half, you know, then you're down to a 16th or an eighth of what you had. I thought about that, right? And I thought that the response a lot of people would have is to say, well, that's why I'll never get married, right? And which is fine. That I don't have an issue with people's choices. But here's the thing I noticed too. If let's say you don't get married, well, if you're still not responsible with who you keep company with in terms of women or men, then when you think about it, you look at a guy, he's got one baby's mama, that's going to be one piece of his paycheck. Another baby's mama, that's another piece of your paycheck. Another baby mama, that's another piece of your paycheck. So either way, when you're not sort of looking for something that's the things that are sturdy and consistent in your life, it makes it hard to build because you're being diluted. You know, you're being chopped into little pieces economically to the point where you become this tiny little crumb, and it's difficult for you to move forward. And so I'd like to get your thoughts on some of that, because I have found that sturdy people, not just you know, in terms of the woman that I chose, but just friendships and people you can really build with, was literally the number one thing that made all the difference in everything I was able to do. I can look at that guy and say, okay, he's going to get the job done. She's going to handle her business, you know, and then you start finding that you have to kind of filter some folks out, because some folks, not everybody's built that way. What are your thoughts on what I just said?
I love it. I love it. It's the answer, Dr. Watkins. You say it eloquently and quietly, but it really is the answer. That you're going to have to work on 3 kinds of networks throughout your entire life. There are 8 passages in life. Each passage is about 10 years. Let me say that differently. If you're a different person at 10 than you were at 1, you're a different person at 20 than you were at 10. You're a different person at 30 than 20, 40 than 30, 50 than 40, 60 than 50. You're constantly changing and you're constantly evolving. So you're going to have to work on 3 kinds of networks. These are the people that are around you. First is your personal network. These are the people that cheer you on, lift you up, hug you. These are the people that have your back. Let's call that your network at home. If things are not right at home, they're not going to be right anyplace else. So you got to get home right first. And when I say home, I mean family, extended family, mom and them, cousins, extended family, etc. Work on that network and work on it throughout every phase of your life, every passage of your life, because that's constantly changing too. The second is the key, and that's your operational network. These are the people that help you to get specific tasks done in life. Whether it is the place that you work, whether it's the development of your own business, whether it's you are serving as a deacon or deaconess at a church. This is your operational network. These people platoon in and out of your life. Not everybody stays in your life throughout your entire life. It's the old saying, people come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime, right? There are only two people that was in my life from zero to I'm 76 years old now. One is my sister, Emma Fraser Pendleton. So your operational network, you're helping people get things done. They're helping you get things done, and they're platooning in and out of your life. The final network, this is the critical one, is what I call your strategic network. These are the people that are smarter than you. These are the people that are where you want to be. These are the people that will drag you into the 21st century kicking and crying. These are the people that ultimately can be your mentors and your coaches, right? So it is the combination, it is the universe of those three networks that you properly manage, you properly cultivate, you properly weed out. Dr. Watkins said that, yes, you're going to have to remove toxic people and bloodsuckers from your life. There's no question about it, and they will be attracted to you. Now, this is very easy to say, very difficult to do, because most of these people are your family, right? So there are people in your family that you're going to have to come to grips with, and you're simply going to have to bless them and release them. Let me give you a very quick, simple story, personal story. Had I not blessed and released my family, we would not be having this conversation. Why? I was in orphanages and foster care for 15 years. When I aged out of foster care, I'm the youngest of 11, 8 boys and 3 girls. When I aged out of foster care, my father, who remained in touch with us, my mother was in a mental institution. That's why we ended up in orphanages and foster care in the first place. But my father kept in touch with us, maintained a beautiful brownstone in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York. I aged out and I went back to that brownstone. But I had 3 older brothers, right, who got there before me. By the time I got there, they were heroin addicts and heroin dealers. One ended up spending 15 years on Rikers Island, and one ended up being killed in a drug deal that went bad, okay? So I'm in this environment with heroin and dealers and heroin addicts, and these are my blood brothers. So I said to myself, but it was really God talking to me, I got to get the hell out of here. So I got my stuff together. I waited a couple of years, packed up what little stuff I had, got on a Greyhound bus and came to Cleveland, Ohio to get away from my family. And I didn't tell them where I went to because I didn't want to be connected to them in any way. I didn't want to be influenced by them in any way. I connected back with them 5 years later. I drove to New York. My brother Edward, who was a stone cold heroin addict by that time, I went to his apartment, dragged him out of his apartment. He was high, put him in my car and drove him to Cleveland, Ohio, and changed his life. So you have to remove toxic people and bloodsuckers from your life. Most of them are going to come within your family. That's why it's so difficult to do. If you don't do that, you're not going to get where you're going. You're not going to get where you're going. If you don't cultivate and develop those 3 kinds of networks, personal, operational, and strategic network, you don't ever want to be the smartest person in your network. If you're the smartest person in your network, you're in the wrong damn network. So it is a myriad of relationships and friends that God puts in your life as a test. It is one of the obstacles that you will have to overcome. My favorite quote is by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus, outside of the Bible. My favorite quote inside of the Bible is Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. But Marcus Aurelius said that the impediment to action advances the action, What stands in your way becomes the way. Let me say that differently. The obstacle is the way. Where there is no obstacle, there is no way. What is the, I mean, this is deep now. What is the first thing God does when he gives you an assignment, metaphorically, when he gives you an assignment that he feels that you are prepared for? What's the first thing he does once you get the assignment? He puts an obstacle in your way. Your job is to find a way over, around, through, and under the obstacle, to make the mistakes, to stumble, to fail, because you learn far more from failure than you do from success, right? And when you are able to do that, when you find a way over, around, through, and under the obstacle that God has put in your way, you then get an attaboy and an attagirl, and you get a new assignment at a slightly higher level. And what's the next thing God does? He puts an obstacle in your way. And your job is to find a way over, around, through, and under the. This is how we learn. This is how we grow. People are put into our lives so that we can navigate and negotiate either a partnership, a strategic alliance, a joint venture, or we bless them and release them. Right? It's something God puts negativity in your life so that you can learn how to deal with this. These are the obstacles of life. It's okay. Don't panic. Right? Just navigate, learn the lessons, and move on.
Wow. This I'm pausing because I don't know about y'all, but I wanted to take that in because I think that this is what we need to hear. I hope that in the chat you will thank this man for what he's doing because this is what we need. We need re-education at every level. And that story about your brothers and the heroin and everything, that's sad because those stories are so common. You know, my father came back from Vietnam with a heroin issue, and he had friends in the same boat. And I was lucky because he made a choice to go in a certain direction, right? And that wasn't my biological father. My biological father, also had a drug issue, and he made a different choice, right? And so, when you talk about just some of these things, I mean, that's all too real in so many of our families. Absolutely. And it just breaks your heart, because these are the people, you're taught to lift up the people behind you, and sometimes you can't.
All right. Now, imagine, Dr. Boyce, had I not been able to navigate that obstacle put in my way. 3 heroin addicts. One ultimately serving time in Rikers Island, the other killed in a drug deal that went bad. Had I not had the consciousness, the God consciousness, listening and saying, I have to bless and release this. I have to get out of here. If I do not, I will end up like them. That was my subconscious thought. And then I had to execute and act on it. I couldn't just think about it. I had to execute and act on it. Now, I don't know who we are talking to, but I promise you that there's somebody in your life right now, they're closer to you than you think, right? That unless you navigate and negotiate a way not to be around them, you are not going to make it. Had I not navigated that, Dr. Boyce, we would not be having this conversation. That one obstacle put in my way at that moment, I had to figure out a way over, around, through, or under it by any means necessary.
Everybody that's watching, in case you didn't know who I'm speaking with George C Fraser. He's the author of the book Success Runs in Our Race and the founder of the Power Networking Conference. If you'd like to learn more about the conference, I highly recommend it. You can go to powernetworkingconference.com. The URL is right there on the screen. Also, please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button, and share this video with anybody in your family that needs to hear this, because he's talking about some real stuff here. Dr. Fraser, I'm looking in the chat and everybody's reacting because we all have a story. Give me a yes in the chat if you feel like you have a testimony when it comes to working around obstacles. And
hey, Dr. Boyce, if they don't have a testimony, we need to yank their black card, because I don't know. The testimony doesn't have a story, right? That's our life. That is our story. But we have to navigate and negotiate there. We have to figure out how to extract ourselves from that and learn the lessons. Now, if we don't learn the lessons, what happens? This is biblical. You repeat it until you learn it.
Mm.
And you keep repeating it. And we've all said, we all know people in our lives, and they come to us with a sob story, and we say to ourselves, boy, that Negro never learns.
You ain't learned yet.
Right? Oh, no, that's gotta be. They just never learn. I don't care what you put in their way. They made mammy do a mammy-made way of getting around it, but they don't learn shit, right? And they just keep repeating it until they learn it.
Oh, I know that all too well, and sometimes I've been that Negro myself. I'm telling you, you got a hard head with you don't learn your lessons. You're gonna be stuck in purgatory. So Dr. Fraser, you said something I want to touch on before I let you go. This has been a great conversation, as it always is. That's why I love the fact that you come by. It's an honor always to talk to you. You mentioned a quote in the Bible about a good man always leaving an inheritance.
Proverbs 13:22.
Proverbs 13:22. Okay, I'm gonna look that.
A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Let me say that a different way. To be black and beautiful, Dr. Watkin, means nothing in this world unless you're black and powerful. Okay? We cannot be black and proud and niggas too, right? White folks are planning for 3 generations and we're planning for Saturday night. Okay? Right? The goal for us ultimately is to win. That's what the whole video was about. Not to look like we're winning. Right? I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it. Your ass ain't winning. Louis Vuitton is winning. Nike is winning. Gucci is winning. You ain't winning. You see, the rich stay rich by pretending to be poor, and the poor stay poor by pretending to be rich. So unless we fix this, right? This is what you talk about. This is your whole thing, right? And you are a financial wizard. I mean, I just love the way you deal with the whole money issue. You and Dr. Claude Anderson together, boy, that's a double fist pump. I mean, it's just awesome. So keep saying it. My thing is networking, but you can't talk about networking and relationship building and building a web and connecting the dots without talking about money. Right? Let me say that differently. When we finish pontificating ad nauseum about our issues, somebody's got to write a freaking check. A check has to be written. Money has to exchange hands. So you can't talk about all this stuff and not include financial education, financial literacy, and helping us to understand how to better manage our money before we get reparations. Okay, so I'm hoping we don't get reparations if we get it for another 5 or 10 years, so that we will have enough time to educate our people on what to do with that money. Because if we don't do that, guess where those trillions of dollars are going to end up? Right back in white folks' hands. That's where it's going to end up. Right? Because we are the most financially illiterate people in America. We're at the bottom of every single freaking economic statistic that matters in this country. So we need your leadership. We need your guidance. We need your knowledge. And by the way, Dr. Boyce, we need you to keep saying what you're saying for the rest of your freaking life. Right?
Yes, sir.
For the rest of your life. Never get tired of repeating what you're saying, because the key to learning is simplicity and repetition. You got to say it 50 different ways on 50 different days. If you go back to YouTube and look at my speeches from 20 years ago, read my books from 30 years ago, I've been saying the same damn things for 30, 40 years. That's the anointment God has given me. That's the anointment God has given you. So I love you for that. And this is why I would, anytime I'm invited, I'm here, because we are of like mind. No question about that. So, and you got one rail covered. I have another rail covered, right? So we're going to move this thing down the track. We've got both rails covered, and eventually those rails are going to meet. No question about it. It's not possible for you to be doing and saying what you're saying, and me to be doing and saying what I'm saying, and for us ultimately not to meet. Now, the other thing is, you're a leader. You get trains moving. You get trains moving. Black people don't, in general, don't get trains moving. We get on moving trains. That's what we get on, right? If the train is righteous and good, we will get on that train. That's why you have so many darn followers. That's a wonderful thing. You are a moving train. What I'm doing is a moving train. That's why I have hundreds of thousands following me. They're on that train. I moved the train. I created the inertia. You created the inertia. There are others out there. We're not the only ones. But I'll close with two things if you'll be so kind to give me the time. Sure. One thing will take 3 minutes, and the final thing will take 3 minutes. I may have talked to you about, after 40 years of serving Black people, 6 best-selling books, 10 million frequent flyer miles, over 3,000 speeches that I've given in every place that Black people have been dispersed, I've come up with what I call my 85-10-4-1 rule. My 85-10-4-1 rule about our people. This is my observation of, again, 40 years of service to our people. What does that mean? 85-10-4-1 rule. 85% of our people are sleepwalking through life. 10% are pimping the sleepwalkers. 4% have pulled themselves out of that dark, sunken place, and they are ready to see the light. 1% are the light, and they're ready to help the 4% get woke. So let's do the math on that. 46 million Black people, 4% are ready for what we're talking about. 1.8, 1.9 million. 1% are the light. 1% of 446 million is almost 500,000. So there are 2.2 to 2.3 million Black people in this country that are ready for what we're talking about. That's who you're focused on. Those people follow you, and those people follow me. Now, don't think that's a small number. That's a huge freaking number. You got 2.2, 2.4 million Black people thinking and doing and acting and executing on the things that we're teaching them. We can change our world. That's who I'm focused on. I'm not focused on everybody. I'm focused on those who are in their right mind and have their right consciousness. Now, they present themselves. You don't really have to dig for them. If you're saying the right things, if you're doing the right things, you're acting in the right way, you're modeling the behavior that you expect from your followers and your people, they will follow you. That's why I love you. You are a messenger and a leader and a train mover, right? And keep pushing that train. Keep saying what you're saying. Keep doing what you're doing to your grave. That's what God wants you to do. That is your anointment. That's why you do it so well. That's why you're totally engaged in it. That's why you're constantly reading and learning it and bringing that information back to our people. You're the assigned reader, because you know, as the old saying goes, if you want to hide something from a Black man, put it in a book. Well, we need Black people who will read for us, then interpret what's in there, and then lay out the path. You are one of those people. Dr. Claude Anderson has been for years, right? I'm one of those people. What's behind me is my library in my office. There's 1,500 books in my library, 15,000 books at home, all right? The average American only reads one book a year. If we read one book a month, in 5 years, we will have read 60 books, and the average American will have only read 5. So stay on the course. Keep following Dr. Boyce. Now, let me make you an offer I hope that you can't refuse. This offer is not only for the virtual conference coming up August the 11th through the 14th, 4 full days. Dr. Watkins is part of our faculty, so you'll see him. He conducts an incredible, what we call a power panel. We have Ambassador Andrew Young. I mean, I don't even want to go through the list. There's 50 faculty members. Go on powernetworkingconference.com, www.powernetworkingconference. Every leader, every brother or sister that is about something, right, has spoken at the Power Networking Conference over the last 20 years. And you'll see many of them who will be back with us this year. So look and see who the faculty is. So So this offer is for the virtual, which is $297, and for the live conference that we will be doing in Houston, August the 3rd through the 6th. Nothing beats live. This is good. This is the best that we can do. The virtual is off the chain, but nothing replaces being with each other. So it's for the live next year, August the 3rd through the 6th, and the virtual. So it's a package. If you go on Power Networking Conference, you'll see that to get the live tickets, which are basically almost sold out a year in advance because Black people can't wait to get back together, you'll see that one adult registration to the live conference next year is $1,500, and a student registration, and we encourage you to bring students, is $800. That's $2,300 for the live for you and a young person 17 to 25. The virtual is $300 this year. That's a $2,600 package. That's what that package is. I'm going to take $2,000 off that package, give you both the live and the virtual for you and a young person for $599. $599. You cannot go to this website and get that offer. You have to get that offer through me. You have to email me. Only I can authorize that offer. Okay? There you go. There you go. Only I can authorize that offer. Now, you can go to the faculty part where it says, I can't see it. Presenters. Yeah, that's the homepage. That's the homepage. But if you go to the VIP, there we go. And you scroll up and down, those are your faces in there. Everybody is in there that's at the conference. You'll see. So you'll see Yana Van Zandt, Philip Bailey, Janice Bryan Howroyd, Michael Baisden, Freddie Haynes, Jamal Bryant, Dr. Nate Irvin. It just goes on and on. Right? There's a guy over there with the bald head and glasses to the right. You might know that guy. Like Bill Harper, right? AJ Jamal, Lance London. I mean, it just goes on and on. And then we have incredible sponsors, and we have keynote speakers. Dr. Anthony Browder, you know him. So it just goes on and on. So it's $599. You must email me at gfraser@frasernet.com. That's gfraser@frasernet.com. That's gfraser, Fraser, at frasernet.com. Email me. In the subject line, put I'm in. In the body of the email, put your full name and your cell number. Your full name and your cell number. Your full name and your cell number. I will personally call you, and we will handle our business over the phone by credit card. Okay? So that's the offer, $2,000 off the $2,600 package, which will get you and a student into the virtual and into the live next year in Houston, August the 3rd through the 6th.
Wow.
That's the story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'll tell you, you know, like I was telling everybody, this is an extraordinary conference. And as you can see, Dr. Fraser is an extraordinary man. I also encourage you all to check out his books. You know, he's not just a great speaker, but a great writer. And he walks it and talks it, and he's very successful as a result of that. And I would love for those of you that are looking for different ideas. I know a lot of y'all hear from me. You hear from me every day. But also, I wouldn't have invited this brother on here if I didn't believe in him. I told y'all he's on my Mount Rushmore. I told you I believe in showing respect to those who cleared the way for people like myself. And I mentioned before Dr. Fraser, Dr. Claude Anderson, Kenny Gamble, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the thread that these men have in common. And to tell you all the truth, these guys have all known each other for years. I have no idea, you know, who's friends and who's not. I don't. But I'm friends
with all of them. I'm friends with all of them. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me because you're so good with relationships. You know, you seek common ground. I've watched you. I've seen you in situations where you had an opportunity to disagree with a person, maybe even an opportunity to disagree with me, but you sought the common ground. And that's something that I actually learned, you know, from observing you. And people don't know this, but I actually have a leadership coach that talks to me about things like that. Hey boys, don't always come out with your fist up. Come out with your hand out. And to shake a hand. Give a hug. And I'll tell you the thing that the four of you have in common is that all of us, and I hope everybody's listening, you agree with me that we really have to honor our strong black men that are builders. All those four men that I mentioned, the thing they have in common is that they were able to build despite the so-called oppression that's designed to keep the black man in the cage. And they're all kings in their own right. They all have their empires, and also all of these individuals relate well with others, right? So that unity is really important for success. So I hope you all will take that lesson as well. I didn't mean to talk so much about it, but I'm inspired by this, and I hope you didn't mind me sharing that. So I just want to say thank you very much, Dr. Fraser. As always, brother, it was so great to have you here.
I appreciate it, man. And so my final thought is I want to answer a very, very important question that I get asked all the time. Dr. Fraser, what is the meaning of life? There is no meaning to life. You have meaning, and you bring it to life. So it is crazy to ask the question when in fact you are the answer. You are the meaning of life.
Wow, there you go. Did y'all catch that? You just got the meaning of life. And it made damn sense. That's what's great. I mean, it fits so well. It says that to me, what my interpretation of that statement was that you have the power to manifest. And part of that power means that I can decide, look, that my life has a meaning because I subscribe meaning to it. I choose what that meaning is going to be. And that almost that's a godlike power that's given to us by a higher power, right? Like the power of God is in you. And I love it. I think it's great. I'm going to carry that.
That's right. That you give life meaning. Not life gives you meaning. You give it meaning.
Wow. Okay. So everybody in here, first of all, do me a favor. Take one moment and give a thank you to this brother for all the wisdom that he dropped. You might have to watch this video twice because I want you to meditate on everything that he said. After you do that and hit the thumbs up button and all that stuff, so please support the channel. I want you to also go take a nap so that these ideas can sink into your subconscious mind. Go chill out. Just relax, with your woman, or if you smoke joints, like, go smoke a joint. I don't smoke, but it's okay if you do. Whatever it takes for you to relax, go do that now. And I want you to really process what he said, because one thing I can tell everybody here is that I believe success is it really is a spiritual process. It involves all your emotionality. It involves your subconscious mind. And that's what's going to make you special, make you great in this world. So take it in. Don't just move on. Like, really process this. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Fraser. It was awesome. And thank you all for hanging out with us. It was great. And the URL's on the screen. It's powernetworkingconference.com. I will see you all there. And at the physical event, I will give everybody in here a hug when you see me at the convention, because I'm going to be there in the front row. So God bless everybody. Please have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. Take care.
Appreciate it. Love you, my brother. Take care.
Same to you, man.